Hey everybody, Matt Locher here from the Startron Middle Fresh region. I'm going to talk to you today about a fall pattern that I like to use all over the Middle Fresh region and really all over the state of Texas. Talking about top water plugs all the way down to about 10 feet divers. That's where most of my fall fishing is going to take place, is from 0 to 10. This time of the year, these bigger fish start getting more active. They're looking to go feed. They're going to move up a little shallower. So you've got everything you need here to take advantage of that pattern. Regardless of what type of lake you're on, we've got something that you can use here to catch good bass. So I'm going to start at the top. Got the Jaywalker 100 here. Great walking stick style bait. When your fish first start coming out of that summer transition, they're getting into the fall feed, you're gonna see them start to school more. You're gonna see some of these bigger fish position around docks and weed lines where they can feed more, ambush better on an easy prey. Here's your easy prey. Walk this Jaywalker along those grass lines, down the edges of the docks, along the bluff walls where these creek channels swing in, where these fish are gonna be transitioning. You're making this a good, easy meal for a big bass. They love these things. Now, we've got the Square Bull 7.5 here. If they're not on the surface, or maybe you're further back in the creeks where you're not targeting so much the surface, you're targeting the stumps, maybe some really shallow creek channel ledges, some dock pilings once again, stuff like that, maybe even over the top of some grass. That's where your Square Bull is going to come in. Those fish are going to utilize these channel swings and they're going to start pushing back in those creeks real shallow as it starts to get cooler, especially when that water temperature starts getting below 75. That's where your Square Bill crankbait really comes into play. Now, if you're on a lake that has a lot of vegetation, that's where this War Pig is going to come into play. This is the 1/2 ounce, and I have this in other sizes. You can determine the running depth of this with your line size and how fast you crank, the angle of your rod, all those things come into play here. But this is a great bait for ripping it out of that vegetation. You can let it sink down and yo-yo it. You can throw it out and burn it. If the fish are schooling, this is another good option. This is a bait that's gonna work all the way throughout the fall season and into the winter. So this is always one that you need to have handy for sure. Now, as it gets colder, a little later in the fall, these fish are gonna start getting a little deeper. They're gonna relate to those creek channel ledges, maybe some of the cover that you can't see on the surface, some stuff like logs laying down around creek channels, stumps, some grass on the edges of the creek channels that's maybe not at the surface. You've got this Bad Shad 5 here. Perfect little shad imitating bait, subtle action that's really nice for when it starts getting colder. Perfect bait for that. Now, as it begins getting even colder, you're just gonna keep transitioning a little deeper and deeper as you go. You got this Digger 6.5 here. As they get a little deeper and you're needing to grind on those ledges, you can get this thing down there and grind on those creek channel ledges. Perfect for that. Now, as it gets even colder, you've got a Bad Shad 8 here that'll get you down a little bit deeper. When those fish are wanting to start getting a little deeper and things are getting colder, you've got the Bad Shad 8. Take you all the way down to about 9 feet. And of course you can manipulate all this a little bit with your line size. Depending on what lake you're on, what type of cover you have, you've got an option here that works for you. And then going down just a little bit further, you've got the Fritside 9 here. Great cold weather bait. Gets you down to about 10 feet. Covers the whole spectrum, from the early stages of the fall pattern when the fish start to get active, all the way through when things start to get colder, they start to get a little deeper and they want a little tighter wobbling crankbait. You get all the way through the fall there. So check out these Berkley hard baits. They'll get you a lot of big bass this fall.